Manchester United need reinforcements up front as we're about to start the season. We would all agree, I believe, we probably need a right winger and we probably need reinforcements in the number 9 area, even if Cristiano Ronaldo stays. If he goes, we absolutely need to dip into the market to replace him. The one position up front that I think that you might have the opinion that we could improve in that area, but I don't think any of us would sit here and call a new left winger a priority for Manchester United. And I think it's incredibly unlikely that we will sign a left winger in this window. And not one player, in my opinion, has actually nailed down this position and made it their own over pre-season. There also isn't a clear number 1. I think we probably would believe it to be Marcus Rashford be the number 1 in this position, but I don't necessarily think that there's anyone that stands there and you go, well, if he's fit, he absolutely plays every single week. There's only one winger that's nailed down his starting position on the right wing, and a lot of people would argue that he would even prefer to operate on the left wing. Many believe that Ten Hag desperately wants to add Antony into the squad on the right wing, so he could potentially maybe look at moving Sancho back over to that left wing. In Ten Hag's system, he does prefer the left winger to be a little bit more inverted, which suits all of the wingers that we have got, and a little bit more rotational rather than someone that just provides out-and-out width, which he has tended to prefer, potentially because of what's been available to him while he's been at Ajax. Let's look at United's current left-wing options then. So, like I said, I think Marcus Rashford is, looking at the way the tour went, probably the number 1. And even though I thought he had a couple of good flashes on tour and I thought he was pretty good against Atletico, I still think there's levels and gears that Marcus can go through. He looks physically sharp, which is a bonus because that's not been the case for 12 months. So that's a start. Maybe he just needs a little bit of match rhythm to get himself up and look sharp and look confident. But Marcus is probably number 1, probably the first choice. And that potentially could be down to a little bit of lack of options rather than out-and-out performance. He was benched in the second game of pre-season for Elanga. Whether you think that's a message or not, or if it was literally just Ten Hag trying stuff out, is very much open for interpretation. He still appears to have something missing, and it remains to be seen if he is the full answer. I don't think he's a massive drama. I see loads of people going sell him, and I think that's way short of the mark. Way short of the mark. If he's not first choice and you don't believe he can get to world class, and that's one thing and you're entitled to your opinion, that he wouldn't be of any use whatsoever to the squad is just completely wide of the mark. He is more effective on the right than he is on the left than he is on the right, and I don't think he's as adaptable as Sancho is. And he could benefit from the fact that United haven't strengthened in that area. It could give him the patience that he might need to get up to full speed. Since the back end of last season, I've been saying the first 6 weeks of this season, which literally starts now, are going to be huge for Marcus's career going forward. If done correctly, Marcus might kick on and maybe even reach a new level under Ten Hag. If it goes badly, I think it could snowball into seeing Marcus eventually leave the club. But I would say currently, based on what we've seen on tour, based on the evidence in front of us, we've seen Marcus Rashford is Ten Hag's number 1 left winger. And I believe the second choice is probably Jadon Sancho. Left wing has probably been the main position he's occupied during his career. He played 109 career games as a left winger compared to 81 as a right winger. There's not a lot in it, granted, but it shows the versatility of the guy. Now, he got 44 goals, 36 assists as a left winger, and then quite a lot less goals, 27 goals and 37 assists as a right winger. Because he's right-footed, you obviously get a little bit more percentage-wise production than you do when he's on the left. You get a few more goals and a touch less assists, but either way, sensational numbers from him on both wings, let's be honest. If he can replicate anything like that ratio this season, we're in for a hell of a season. He's shown effectiveness throughout his career playing on either of those wings, but I know he prefers playing off on the left-hand side. He's been a standout performer in pre-season, but off the right-hand side, not the left-hand side. So I think that if, for example, Marcus was injured, or even if Antony came in, Sancho being played off the left-hand side becomes an option, And certainly not a bad one. Certainly one that you could choose and not have any qualms with whatsoever. After that, it could potentially drop off a little bit. Elanga, third. I like his energy. I like his athleticism. I like his work rate. I like his attitude. I'm not sure if 4 goals and 2 assists in 29 games for United represents the level of quality that we need to be getting. I'm not sure if he's even United standard. He is a squad player at best, and that might be fine with him. He might just come in and give someone a break for 10, 15 minutes towards the end of the day. Work rate and pace is all you get in. Maybe more like the modern day Alan Smith. Different position, but maybe that sort of, someone who's a very honest player, likable. You can bring him on, but he ain't going to be winning a Ballon d'Or, and he's probably not going to win you any trophies. Sometimes that's okay to have as your third choice, someone who's got versatility. You could play him down the middle, you could play him off to the left, you could play him off to the right, and he's going to be pretty happy to sit in there. That might be the move. Behind him, you've got another couple of options. I'm going to give you a random one before I talk about Garnacho, because we are talking about Garnacho. Antony Martial. If Ronaldo stays, probably won't be getting too many minutes down the centre. If United bring in Šeško, I think Šeško's better than him. Probably not getting too many minutes down the centre. And he's developed into a number 9 more than a winger over the course of his career, but he's been dangerous off the left. Cutting in onto his right foot has shown the very best of his finishing. And his number 1 attribute as a footballer, his freakishly good close control as he's running, is effective from those wide areas going from out to in. Without the striker depth, it's unlikely that you're going to see him on the left-hand side. But if you do sign someone and no one has nailed down that position, we might see Antony off the left-hand side again. It's an option. And for this reason, these are the reasons why I don't think you've seen any left winger talk. I think there's also potential. Some people have discussed the possibility of playing Ronaldo off the left-hand side. Because of the way Ten Hag has utilised some of his left wingers at Ajax, it's not a wild suggestion to have Ronaldo play with someone else that's going to get into the box, he's going to lead the line, who's going to be looking for those runs in behind. It's not the craziest idea I've heard, in all honesty, but I think it's on the unlikely side rather than the likely side. And that brings us to Garnacho. There is star potential in Garnacho. Stood out in the FA Youth Cup run. Managed to get his international debut. He's out here playing with Messi and Ronaldo. Guy's absolutely living the dream. If he's not quite ready, he isn't far off. And we're talking minuscule amount off. With the lack of forward depth, it could mean that he gets the opportunity in the first team akin to what Elanga got last season. He is young, he is developing, but he does have the ability to challenge those ahead of him because of his effectiveness and because of the confidence and the way he carries himself. Sometimes with youngsters, you have to throw them into the fire and they either sink or swim. Loans, and I don't think people really realise this, loans aren't always the best move for several reasons. To make a Manchester United player, you have to perform for Manchester United. And sometimes the only way to find out if that is the case is to play for Manchester United. The options that we've got in the left wing embarrass every other position on the pitch, bar centre-half, really. And I don't think United will be going into the market for one. I think you're going to see Garnacho. My next door neighbour, actually, shout out if he's watching this to Wolf. My next door neighbour gripped me this morning. And he said, what do you think of that this weekend? And I went, wasn't great. He went, it was shite. And I said, yeah, it weren't great. I said, Garnacho was good, though. And he said, yes, he was. And he went, I'd start him at weekend. I said, well, I think he's probably earned a place off the bench at least. And Ten Hag might want to start him, but considering that's the first minutes he's got in pre-season, I'd be amazed, to be honest. I think he definitely has earned a place off the bench, though. Certainly earned the right to be put on the bench with that level of performance. Wouldn't shock me if United have a behind closed doors game that you might not even hear about this week. And if he features there with what looks more like a proper United 11. Even if they do it in training Wednesday morning, something like that. Thursday morning. I would expect to be hearing about Garnacho being in training and playing in those 11s. And I don't think he'll be going out on loan. And that could be massive for him. I think that's the same with the likes of Zidane and Savage. They're at the age where just keep them around. They're too young, really, to go out on loan. Keep them around in the squad, see how it goes down, and let's see what can happen with them. But that's the situation currently with left wingers. Does Ten Hag have a dilemma? He might have a dilemma, actually, because he's got options. And it's one of the few positions that he does have options in. I think a lot is going to ride on, does he sign a right winger and does he sign a striker and does Ronaldo stay? Once you know the answers to those three questions, everything on the left wing will become very clear. I think the one young man that can benefit from this the absolute most is Alejandro Garnacho. The kid's destined for greatness, and you might as well just let him off the lead now. And it looks like he could be with the manager that's going to allow that to happen. I can't wait to see it. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.